looking for that big W under their belts and contest for that 4th place, which is currently being held by Quest. I went to look at the Dota 2 Pro Tracker a bit about this Shadow Fiend and Watson, and he just played it an hour ago with Beastmaster and his team, and they beat it in 23 minutes. So the panel, they're onto something about the timer here for Entity. They got to push hard.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a situation where if it goes into some late game situation, the map is completely even, the game can be hard, but it could be a completely different game. And the name of the game for Entity is going to be playing the tempo of the game, getting an Aegis on the Shadow Fiend. That's what's going to be the deal breaker for most of these team fights. If Shadow Fiend has an Aegis, all of a sudden this Chronosphere and this Doom are a lot less potent. And of course, we did see the other day the TA plus the Beastmaster and what it could do. Shadow Fiend Beastmaster, similar story here. They can control the map really early with the auras. We're probably not going to see Helm of the Dominator, most likely for Toby, as he is playing against a Doombringer, just going straight into those auras, and then of course we get that level 15 talent. Well, Xantic here, gonna take a bit of damage.
Some early poke here.
Skilling something he did not want to skill. I think that's the big thing.
That is actually pretty huge. You don't want to start off with Dissimulate on your Void Spirit in mid. You want to have either the Remnant or the Resonant Pulse for that. Range creep CS, but right now it just got a little bit harder. And Stormer, he's pretty happy with that, considering that the Pango matchup versus the Void, in terms of that early level, it's going to be a bit easier for him.
I've definitely seen Void Spirits go 4-0-4 in a lot of games. Just most of the time you get 1 point in Dissimulate as an escape tool for the most part. And you go straight into those stats as you are a universal type hero. So this mid lane, definitely going to help Stormer out a lot here, burning that region out and also making him skill. Definitely his worst skill to get at level 1.
Yeah, for sure. He's gonna be pushing his advantage for sure in this mid lane. The last time we did cast Stormer playing that Wind Ranger in mid, he didn't have quite a lot of success with it. And now going back into the arms of a much more potent, much more capable mid laner. At least I wouldn't say Wind Ranger's that bad, but the numbers speak a different story. Maybe he can build that out. One big weakness I spy on the side of Dota 1 Hustlers is that they're very cooldown dependent. You've got this 145-second Doom, and then you have the 160-second Chronosphere. So you've really got to pick your battles.
And that's why I mentioned the Aegis is going to be super important. Doombringer, this hero's first phase, banned almost every game because he can get around those cooldowns simply by being an Octarine core buyer. And of course, that level 20 talent of minus 35-second Doom feels like it's always up at that point in the game as you skill later into the game here. But yeah, Chronosphere, there's not much you can do about that. The best thing you can do is potentially just buy a Refresh Orb so you can have a double Chronosphere.
Also, one interesting fact also coming. Well, I got a couple things I'm going to be dropping here and there, but it's a Toby versus Shad, ex-Fike and GG members playing up against each other. It's always a big pleasure watching old teammates battling out against each other. It's probably not that much of a grudge match, but people who've been watching Division 2 and especially 2020, 21, 22, when these guys have been around trying to dominate the second tier level of Dota, now both pushed into Division 1. Entity's already been here for a while. Dota 1 Hustlers or D1 Hustlers finally making their way here. It's always fun to watch these two brawl against each other and in the same lane too.
And speaking of that lane, though, it looks like for now Toby will be getting the advantage. And I think this is a matchup that you're pretty happy as Toby. You can skill these boars, as you see, he will pick them up. You don't have a way of killing them as the Lich nor as the Faceless Void. So as this lane progresses, it'll be more and more difficult for Shad to end up laning here. And of course, Katomi, he's playing the techies. Almost a guaranteed lane win no matter what when you have this hero in your lane. So they're looking pretty good here on Entity in this top lane, and mid lane as to be expected. A bit of an advantage here by Stormer, but not by much. I would have figured that maybe Stormer could have had a bigger advantage, seeing that Xantic pretty much didn't have a level 1 skill. You basically can't use this to simulate for pretty much anything at level 1, as he didn't as well. But Xantic making his ground up here as time goes on.
And he's got to be pretty happy feeling about that too, because this could have been so much worse than what it has been going so far. Getting himself, keeping up the pace with this Pango. CS is pretty much tied at this point between the two.
And bot lane might look really bad for the Doom as he's 8-0 and SF is 12-8, but They've got 9 CS, so up to 17 CS total for the bot lane. Just a lot of it's being spread to the Mirana here. But overall, doing fine, I would say, in D1 Hustlers here. Against this very pesky SF and Undying.
Yeah. And that was a last phase Mirana 23rd pick coming out too. We've seen 1 or 2 last pick Miranas that have been going into the pause 4 role, not having necessarily that huge of an impact in terms of, oh, that's just a Mirana, right? But at least in terms of the laning stage, going together with that Doom, Mirana able to move around the map very effectively. There's already a scan coming out there as Stormstormer is going to be aware of the Theoliker showing up. But at the top lane, we'll be battling out against the Techies, and Hakoda, with the help of Shad, will be picking up first blood for D1 Hustlers.
Very nice. That helps them out quite a bit in that lane, and the mid lane as well. Xantic ends up getting both of the water runes here, so Stormstormer are going to be sitting on an empty bottle for some time now. If he wants to go back and potentially pick up the enemy bounty rune, that's the only avenue he has. Just kidding. Katomi died, so free bottle refill, and they messed it up. They didn't do it, actually. He gave the bottle too quickly and didn't get the refill, so wasted TP, no bottle refill.
That's a rough
Good
one.
things happening for D1 Hustlers here. Of course, that wasn't in their control, but good nonetheless.
Also, at the same time, Theoliker's been sniping 2 couriers, one from Watson, one from Fishman. Both of the safe lane couriers killed. Quick shout out to Benji as well for providing some of the help with that. Theoliker has actually got the most courier kills per game of any player across the DPC regions as a whole. And he's just, you know, padding up his stats again with 2 more courier kills.
Guess so. A lot of it has to do with that ward he has placed, and he must place that ward quite a bit. And right behind the tier 1. Seems like he...
Llama.
Yeah,
Gotta
3
be
raises
careful
to the
level
face.
2 raises, yeah.
But he had the Lotus look already back to full. With the Ring of Health, he's fine. And you have more raises on SF, so it's still scary to be here. But at least he doesn't have to go back just yet in mid lane.
Oh, a lot of traffic here. They've got themselves a cancel onto the Rolling Thunder, but he still gets it off just in time. Lich going to be trying to push himself to the high ground, but Stormstormer, he knows his tricks. He takes... No, he doesn't take the haste rune away from the Void Spirit, so Xantic gets his much needed bottle refill too. Stormstormer down, Hakoda to drop as well, and Katami going to be chased down by Theoliker and Xantic. And that's a double for the Mirana with a rotation into the mid lane. It was just Lich soaking up all that damage, and Void's just, you know, he's just rubbing his hands together like, my time has come.
This feels like just one of those games, you know, where nothing is going right for you. You can't pick up the haste rune, bottle refills aren't happening, all your couriers are dying. It's just a series of unfortunate events here. But great start for D1 Hustlers here. So Hakoda, he just wants to kill a boar, it looks like.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well.
You know, the other one is also going to be expiring, so the fresh boar straight back to the slaughterhouse.
And he is going to helm the Dominator on Toby here. A little surprising, as he is... Actually, he might be in a bit of trouble here. Are the bashes with them?
Well, let's see if they can punish for him. There's one bash from Shad. And another Force Blast. These guys, they're getting so many slows in here, but there's a Time Walk available for the Faceless Void. He drops the Time Dilation, but he's going to be disengaging with it instead of extending for a potential kill. I would think Shad could have even actually Time Walked in to continue battling it out, maybe find a kill for himself, but he's got to play it safe.
Yeah, versus the reactive taser there, decides he's just going to back it up. And as we mentioned before early on, that I don't think the D1 Hustlers are any rush in this game. They've got the better, I would say, ultra late game here. A little bit of weaker mid game, but if they can minimize the damage and just get to that point where they have their items and farm, I think
they're looking at the
happy.
Pango here. Can they get the catch on him in time? Doesn't look like it, but the right-click damage might be sufficient. His swashbuckle is coming off cooldown and already building some distance. Arrow, gonna be a wild one, almost connecting onto the Pango, but Hakoda has also found the enemy. Blast off at 10 from Katami, swashbuckle coming in, and with that, Fishman will finally follow up with the kill. No blast off needed, just for show. Arcane rune for Xantic though.
Xantic is having a great game, and we see what happens when these Void Spirits.
He's back in.
Oh, speaking of Void Spirits,
might be disarmed from the taser, but Theoliker's going to be picking it up. Yep, that's again another kill for D1 Hustlers. And even if the CS chart, when he was saying things aren't looking too hot for Entity, it was the one good thing going for them was this the effectiveness in the lane in terms of CS. But looking at net worth, it's telling a bit of a different story. Void Spirit having this great of a start, he's going to be snowballing heavy into this game. Shad gonna have to battle it out with Toby and Fishman there for a second. Roar also used some time ago. Won't be up for a while. They've got Chrono available though.
I've been wondering why he's been using Sinister Gaze on these creeps, and apparently in the new patch, when you use Sinister Gaze on a creep, it does 250 damage and it lasts twice as long. 250 damage per second, by the way.
Yep.
So I was like, he's just one-shotting these boars here. Some new Lich tech, hard countering. I don't think Toby would have known this, really, because if he would have known this, he probably would have just went the Axe build. Look at this.
Look at that.
His Helm Dom creep is just dead from one Sinister Gaze from Lich.
That works. That works nicely. Yeah, 250 damage per second. Meanwhile, battling out next to the bounty runes, Fishman's going to be dropping. Rolling Thunder forced out, but dodged by the Similar. And now Hakoda battling as well with Katami and Toby walking in for the kill. The boar will get the last hit, and Void Spirit, he's got all of his spells on cooldown. Gonna need some backup. Roar coming out as well, but the Resonant Pulse going to be soaking up some of the damage. Can he still build up another one? No, he can't get out. His spells are still on cooldown. Only the Resonant Pulse to buy some time, but no escape available. Shat, however, does trade off from Katami. Get a kill there, but it's a good response from Entity, getting that Void Spirit, the top net worth core.
Stormstormer might go in, too. Oh, the Pavis saving him. In 7.33C, they decided Pavis wasn't good enough because everyone was buying it. So you know what they did? They decided to buff it. And now it works against physical damage from spells. Well, that would mean Swashbuckle.
Oh, Chrono used, but no proper follow-up. They've got TPs coming in. They've got the Pango here, too. Shad trying to make a disengage run for it. Atzante gets the initiation out onto the Pango. Doom coming out as well. So is the Requiem, fearing the Doom for the time being, but Atzante coming in. Deny coming out from Watson, though. And that's going to be one down, but no money given for D1 Hustlers. And now they're going to find the Undying. And also the blast-off jump from Katsaumi, trying to finish off Shad. Yes, they can't take down that Void. And now onto Watson as well. Down to 600, trying to battle it out. But Davai Lama, he's got a Hakoda backing him up as well. And with that dissimulate dodge, Watson down. Atzantic maybe will die, but no, the Pavis comes into action once again. And Hakoda, he's got another Sinister Gaze available in 2 seconds. This Katami Techies will drop as well. It is a costly trade in terms of the Void, but you killed the Shadow Fiend, making it totally worth for D1 Hustlers.
Yeah, for sure. Getting that Void kill is pretty crucial because in the meantime, Toby did manage to get the tower with his Helmet Dominator creep plus his minions in the top lane, so Beastmaster doing Beastmaster things. And Toby's, I'm a bit surprised by this. He is definitely gonna go into the Helm of the Dominator, into the Helm of the Overlord, but he is playing versus Doom. We've all seen this Doom, and he does get that level 15 talents. It's something most Beastmasters try to avoid.
Pre-15 timing, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult versus Doom. He's going to be getting a lot of experience per minute with that Devour. There goes your boar. Pretty much. Now we're going to drop it so soft that it's going to drop. Toby trying to go for a bit of a push. They also finished the Tommy creep with the Sacred Arrow from Theoliker.
They have so many things, man. The army's gone now, but it might just be enough with this Pango DD to continue the push here. As it looks like the D1 Hustlers are not super interested in defending this. Like they're poking their heads around, but they're not going to bring the Void and Xantic. He's seeping in. They want to fight.
Yeah, and this is what Entity they gotta keep on doing, right? They need to keep up the pressure, be able to get these objectives, force D1 Hustlers to always be short-handed in these situations, so Entity can keep up controlling the map, getting towers, building objectives, and just building momentum on their side, because we talked about this early timing that they kind of rely on.
Yeah, for sure. They're a little strange to see the Hustlers try and defend that tower, but it looks like they're just going to smoke out immediately, but they might be smoking right into where Entity is waiting here.
Yep, we've got one smoke and another gank squad right behind them. Techie's mine does explode, so they do have info. And there's also a ward, but Fishman, Just suspecting something is up, but there goes the tombstone just as the taunt flies out. Arrow will connect. It's a bit of a dodgy one to dodge as it comes from that high ground position, but no initiation capability there for either side.
They see the tombstone go up, so they're like, yeah, we're out of here. They don't want to fight in that tombstone. They had the ward on top of the tombstone there as well. Decide to just back it off there, which I think is a good choice. If they want, they could apply some pressure to this mid tower, but that would mean the Faceless Void would have to be ready with the TP. Same with Divine Llama. Not sure if it's worth it. Instead, we'll just fight for the runes.
Well, they're going to try and get a quick snipe on the Undying. Almost works out. Arrow doesn't quite connect, so Anzantic has to commit a bit deeper for it. Katami, he's dropped fairly low there. Stormstormer also getting soaked up, but the Sinister Gaze doesn't quite taunt the Stormstormer. Pango still in magic immunity, and it runs out by the time it's finished.
Debuff immunity now, my friend.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I can see it being handy, like when you look at like Lich later on when he's got more points in Sinister Gaze, the 2-second duration. If you already cast it on the target as like Rolling Thunder's about to end, he can't swashbuckle. He's just going to get taunted and pulled in some direction.
Yeah.
Loses control of his hero for the time being. I was thinking that same thing with like Bane interactions. You throw the Nightmare on them, and Pango can't just cancel his Rolling Thunder because he's instantly just going to get slept. So timing can be crucial for Dakota.
I definitely seen interesting things of that with Pango as the Rolling Thunder. Normally, you want to min-max that Rolling Thunder towards you want every bit of that debuff immunity all the way to the end into using your swashbuckle. But now that you can cast it on towards the end of the roll, you gotta think a little bit more as a Pango player now of when you want to be canceling that roll to get out of safety a bit earlier.
Looking at the net worth as well, Theoliker, who's been sniping couriers, he's on a killing spree right now. His net worth has been spiraling, and he lands a good arrow onto the Pango. Doesn't look like it's necessarily going to be a kill, but a lot of damage nevertheless. Forces out the magic wand. And the Diffusal Blade that has also been built. They got to be careful for it. That's a big burst that Stormstormer has. Entity going for Roshan, though.
Yeah, both mid laners with big bursts available as the Void Spirit. Might not have like that Fusel Blade timing, but he still has 2,000 net worth advantage over the Pango almost. With that Yasha, with the Echo Saber. And Chronosphere is up here. You got to be careful.
Oh, here comes the Biolama. Here comes Hakoda as well. Like, oh, hello, Fishman. Nice to meet you. Hakoda's just deleted, but the Undying seems to be following suit too. Watson, looking for the Requiem from the low ground. One hero dodges it, two get feared up. Doom also takes a bit of damage from it too.
Roche is half HP
almost
here.
Finishing off the Marana too. So D1 Hustlers, they're pretty low right now. Entity, they could just finish off Roche. They can't contest it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so. All things considered, though, I don't think they were going to contest this Roach very well anyway. You are playing versus Beast, Undying, Pango, SF. They have a lot to fight into. And this is exactly what you want to play for if you are Entity. Maybe this first Aegis isn't going to give you what you need to bust open the map, but you're setting up for that second Roach that will have a cheese, and then you'll have that opportunity to go high ground with Aegis, cheese, against this Faceless Void and the Doom. That might be what would be required for you to get that early advantage. And even if you don't want to go high ground and get barracks, you at least want to control the map and suffocate the enemies to the point where they just can't leave their base.
Looking at some of the itemization that's being built this game, I'm still keeping my eyes closely on this Marana here with that Guardian Greaves timing, because that is going to be pretty huge considering the net worth that Marana's already been able to accumulate in these early 17 minutes. 5k, only 2k behind the enemy mid and offlaner. So this Marana off to a fantastic start this game.
Yeah, she has her toolkit of what she needs already. You got the mech, you got the Pavis. Finishing the Greaves is going to be just luxury, really. Being able to use that mech more often to dispel this game. It's okay, but nothing huge to dispel. Maybe some lucky shot, potentially, but this isn't really a right-click Marana type of build. This is a keep my allies safe build. As they will use this Helm of the Overlord. I will give him this. He does have a timing with the Helm of the Overlord. Couple more levels, 3 more levels for this Doom until he gets that talent. Until then, you got yourself a free game. But after that, this item will slowly but surely get devoured in the fights.
We've yet to see only one chrono being used by Shat so far, and that was also a bottom tier 1 tower dive, which they couldn't really utilize. So he's just been happy just farming the map. He's got his Mjolnir. Pretty fast speed for Shat to just clear out camps. Working on a BKB next, so I'm believing that would be the timer to go over an engagement, try to shut down Entity, slow down their pace a bit, because right now they're fully active, they're fully online to take down these objectives. The T2 already down at the top lane and forcing out this mid as well. Glyph has been expended.
I wouldn't say this is like desperation from Entity, but it definitely feels like, you know, they're the ones pushing, right?
Oh, they're looking
up.
for a pretty good pick-off
big.
here. They can get the Llama, and they stack up their stuns to make sure that the Llama has no escape.
The man really wanted to buy this.
It works out just perfectly.
Greed is good. And this greed is definitely not good in this scenario. They were up almost 6k gold there. But now, with that death, you just gave SF level 15 presence or effects building. He wouldn't have had that before.
Ooh, almost finishes off the tower through that back door. Finally gets it from the low ground. Lich ulti used. They're trying to get through the Aegis. Not so far from it. Watson, very low on HP, but it's just not enough this time around. Shat's still farming in the jungle. He's like, I need to get this BKB much faster. You know, they're on my high ground, but I can't just go in on a chrono and hope for the best. I'm gonna have some security for it.
They hold him at bay for a little bit, but what a costly death by Defy Llama there.
It was.
Him dying there, losing the Crimson Guard for that push with the Frost Armor. Of course, all his other spells available, but more importantly, that death just ticked Watson up to that level 15 talent, which essentially just allowed them to take that tower with ease. It's okay, though, I think, still for the D1 Hustlers here. As I was saying, you don't often see... Well, what you normally see, right, is you get the Aegis on a lineup like Entity, and you're already up like 6k gold. But they were doing that push down 6k gold. So these pushes have to work. The moment one of these pushes do not work for them, this is where things get really scary for them, because this is their power spike. They got the Helm of the Overlord. It's not going to be good throughout the entirety of this game. As we mentioned, it's on a bit of a timer. Even this Lich with the Sinister Gaze, as he gets leveled, will make it worse. But more importantly, this Doom Devour at level 15. But until that time happens, they got a big power spike here.
They do, and the game plan is pretty simple for Entity right now. They still have Aegis for 30 seconds, so they're going to finish off the remaining towers on the map, and that is in the bottom lane. The T1's already down. The Tier 2, though, D1 Hustlers, do they respond? BKB recipe ready, but the Ogre Axe is still 800 gold short for Shad, so either he risks it, or they're just going to forfeit the tower. At least D1 Hustlers, the rest of them, trying to buy as much time as possible. Not completely leaving this tower defenses, but they're all spotted by that Hawk. And
this Void is a ticking time bomb for sure right now. When he finishes this BKB, if he can place it right on top of the Shadow Fiend without being able to get roared by the Beastmaster, it shouldn't be too hard. Just leave a lot of extra space in your Chrono to make sure Beast can't walk up and Chrono you in it. Or roar you, sorry, in your Chrono. I think you just kill this SF in one Chrono.
For sure, that's the win condition that they're looking for, because he hasn't... Okay, he's just about to finish the BKB, so that's one thing you have to take into account. If Watson gets chronoed, but he gets his BKB off, this Void isn't doing any damage, really.
It'll definitely help.
They have Solar Crest, they have a couple auras as well to buff up that HP region. It's going to be very bulky, but if he doesn't get the BKB off, that allows Mjolnir procs, that allows Time Lock procs. That's really the strength of the Faceless Void, killing targets when they're not BKB'd up.
Yeah, whether or not this BKB gets off by Watson will be critical. As if he doesn't get off, yeah, Void might just solo kill him, but you also have Lich Chain Frost to deal with, you've got Mirana Arrow. Lots of stuff that can come after that Chronosphere to either chain stun you or just do the damage through it. But more importantly, I think it's going to be the next Roshan. This next Rosh is going to be critical for Entity. For the Hustlers, you can still play the game even though if you give it away. However, if the Hustlers somehow get that Aegis, Entity, their whole game plan is going to go into shambles.
I also just looked at Entity. They have a gem in their fountain right now, so able to fight against that Mirana Moonlight Shadow later on this game. Talking about Mirana and forcing out that ulti, Stormstormer on the chase. has an idea where this Mirana is, but just outside of sentry vision. Mirana's going to be able to get out of there. Might as well be time to pick up that gem potentially on somebody.
Might as well at this stage of the game. I think you're going to just group up as 5 anyway, as Entity. You're still 6,000 gold down, but the train don't stop.
It's on the Pango Courier now, coming straight from the base.
And Toby and the boys, they got a single-dimensional type of strategy here, and they know what they got to do, and they're going to do what they can to execute it. And I think the call is, from the side of Entity here, is let's just defend Roshan. It's going to spawn. It may respawn in 30 seconds. So the boys know it's not going to be bottom. It's got to spawn on Dire at some point. So I think you head on up to Dire and you start making camp here. And you got a techies on your team. This hero is quite good at warding up these twin gates and protecting the Roche area. So get to Dire. Let's go. Let's prepare for Roshan. Get that cheese and Aegis in hand. But I don't think D1 Hustlers are just going to let it go without a fight. As they might just do a pit stop real quick for the Tormentor.
While Shad
we got a
finishes off that
2.5 minute
low HP tower. Oh, that's a fast Tormentor. Watson really packing a punch here on this SF. All that minus armor, right-click damage is pretty damn high. If only Shadow Fiend was a universal hero too.
If only.
It seems to be the joke of the century in a sense, like universal heroes just having so much damage that might as well put everything on that list. And Stormstormer right next to D1 Hustlers, they're going to smoke up, but Hustlers don't have the night vision. They don't see this happening. And into the Roche pit they go. Entity should be following suit.
Yeah, they would have been expecting a minimum timer Roshan right there for that to happen, but I believe the timer was 2.5 minutes.
Very close right now. Well, the smokes have already popped on the side of Entity. And Hustlers re-smoking themselves, preparing for the fight. Davai Lama, he will find the Pango, gets the Doom off just in time. He's pretty deep right now. Fear coming out as well, so is the Tombstone placed on the ground, and Tombstone hiding the Undying. They need to get through that bunker, but Fishman comes out of the bunker, and now finally targetable. D1 Hustlers will be able to take him down. The Corona coming onto the back line as well. It's going to be catching the Shadow Fiend, but the Roar comes out at the same time from Toby. Will buy some time, but Watson, he has that damage, but he needs some backup. Shad going to have to disengage with the time block for the time being. Davai Lama blinking away. Katami down by Zantic, and here comes the Rolling Thunder from Pango, who is re-engaging. Will take down Hakoda with a quick burst of damage. Lich coming in with a buyback, able to TP back to the outpost, and Zantic still being focused here. Watson, disarm onto the Faceless Void. Won't be able to hit anybody right now because of the Swashbuckle. And Theoliker, he has a lot of hostiles right behind him, trying to run away. Entity inside that tree line, but D1 Hustlers, they're calming it down for a second. Bit of a chill moment for the time being. Roche is still not home. Trying to focus that Ancient Ice Shaman. Hakoda knows he wants that Sinister Gaze to connect on him. Stormstormer! Oh no! They got the bang on the low ground! Stormstormer down and gone! He's gonna have to buy back as well. They've recovered the gem onto Davai Lama. Entity still looking for an opening here. Shadow on the right side. Davai Lama coming in with the Blink Initiation, but there's an illusion play. The Manta coming out from Shadow Fiend. Another blast off connected, but that Doom, he's very tanky. He needs some backup. He cannot fall, otherwise the auras are gone. He will drop. He's coming into 2 with a buyback. And that Tombstone, for the second time this team fight, Stormstormer getting taunted up by the Remnant, and D1 Hustlers disengaging, full retreat. We've lost this battle. But
yeah,
they lost the war.
There. We'll have to see. They're kind of low. They don't have Chrono. BKB is now coming up again. They might go one more raw here.
Kataumi in the tree line. We'll get the Sticky Bomb to connect onto the Doom. And Zantic jumping in once again, catching the Shadow Fiend. Arrows done. BKB available once again. Roar second time onto Shad. That Pavis will be burned through. Has a time walk available. And Toby taken down by Zantic. And the Shadow Fiend surrounded by hostiles. And he will be taken down too. Watson down for the count. But at the same time, Stormstormer and Kataumi, they're trying their absolute best. The Oliker down, Kataumi to die. Stormstormer retreating from the fight, but Davai Lama gets a connection onto the Pango. And D1 Hustlers able to this time regroup from that previous retreat and force away Entity. And Roche is back home.
what a long-winded fight there. And Entity, they tried their best there. I feel like Defy Llama not having his cleanest game here. I believe that his initiation go way back to the beginning of that team fight. If we'll call that long-winded thing one team fight. It was a little bit premature there, but Exantic picking up the pace here. Shad being very patient. BKB's coming off cooldown. Now they're going to get the Aegis. They put it on the Doom of all heroes here. I guess allowing Defy Llama without the buyback to just jump into the fights. And Shad is like, Cheese will be good enough for me. I feel like they're not going to be able to kill me quite easily in this game. However, for Entity, they've shown a lot of hope here. They've shown a lot of promise with this lineup, but with that Aegis going down, that makes you wonder, are they running out of gas here? Are they running out of steam? It might be the case here. The Doom, with that little 15 talent online now, will be able to eat up Toby's creeps. And Toby, he really just will be a pipe at that point. End of Vlad's.
Yeah, I understand the Aegis on this Doom. Mainly because the idea of just having big auras. Yeah. Mainly because
I understand auras. He doesn't have buyback, right? That's what I understand. Yeah. But I see heroes like Exantic who are beyond godlike on Void Spirit. I think Aegis is pretty good on him. Faces Voids level 18 as well. That sounds pretty good as well. So I could be wrong here, but we'll see. Maybe they got something in plan with the way they want to play that'll make this Aegis Wanda Doom be viable.
Yeah, it's like the fact that there's no vessel. You get a lot of benefit out of the cheese, so Void can kind of extend fights on his own, jumping in and out with Time Walk, and just having those auras for round 2. We've seen how much impact the Llama has by literally just being there, you know?
I'd like him to be a little more patient with his initiation, so that's the only thing that is on my wish list.
He is one of the most aggressive pause 3 initiators. He loves to go. He kind of has like these Amar type of vibes, where it could be like, oh, he's all by himself, but he's initiated. What about the rest?
Right. And that's something I often see teams do that I want them to generally work on, right? Because like if you initiate, you doom someone, use your Centaur Stomp, that is meant to be initiation for your team to follow up. But if you use all your spells like that, and the enemy team is able to get that distance between you before your teammates even arrive, that can put you a little deeper than what you wanted. But I do love the killer instinct. Some teams have players that are the exact opposite. They're just too afraid to jump.
Yeah.
So finding that sweet spot is very difficult to do.
You're looking at two very different type of offlaners this game, especially when you think about Toby. Toby isn't the guy who just, you know, sacrifices himself to get that opening for the team. Llama might be that type of player, but they've also learned to play around it. Toby's more of like this security type of offlaner. He'll make sure that things are going all right. He's going to give you some extra backup. He's not super flashy with his offlane plays. We can see from his stats as well that he hasn't had massive impact. Of course, Entity only with 10 kills this far, so far. We talked about this Overlord early on in this game already, that is this the item choice to go for. It's going to hinder his game a bit. And it's also going to hurt his allies not getting those buffs on point. But still, two very different type of offlaner players, at least in terms of play style.
It looks like the Hustlers, right? Never mind, I'll wait until this Moonlight Shadow does a lapse here. But maybe this is the game plan with the Aegis. Oh, you don't have buyback on the Doom. Here you go. Take the Aegis in case you die a little bit out of position. Maybe we can come help you. But they have no intentions whatsoever to do anything during this Aegis. They are completely content farming. Shad is like, yeah, I got my Scotty online. I'm getting closer to this refresher orb. But as I say that, maybe they're looking for an opening.
Yep, and onto Fishman they go with Zantic. Gonna get that quick 1,000 damage burst, and maybe the Undying will drop. He's gonna bunker himself up, but can they save the Undying is the big question. Doesn't look like they can necessarily. Gonna get Hurricane forward with the Wild Wing Ripper. Nullifier gonna be connecting too, but he's gonna be dodging everything. So that bunker saves him, and the allies coming in for the rescue.
Yeah, time bots. However, you're still stuck in your base here. And no mistake about it.
Katami. Oh, Hakoda. Oh, he gets him.
Entity's timing has passed. It is going to be all Hustlers timing now. And it's going to be up to Entity now to find openings, find cracks in the armor that the D1 Hustlers will leave here to exploit through turtling.
True turtling indeed. Looking for those
Whose
openings
turtle
are
shell
gonna get a
is
lot.
stronger.
Yeah, who pokes their head out of the shell? Who hides inside?
The thing is, though, D1 Hustlers, they're not going to be hiding their shell for much longer, as they are fully online here. I believe they will probably wait. Potentially next Roche, as Aegis was reclaimed.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But more importantly, get that refresher orb available for the Faceless Void, as that will allow him to have 2 Chronospheres, and he has plenty of mana for it now that he has the Eye of Scotty. Perhaps he decides to go for something else before then, but we'll see.
Risking onto the high ground here. Sentry already down. Here comes the initiation from the Roar. Requiem to follow up as well. Hakoda out of play. And Santic gonna get poked by Stormstormer. And that Rolling Thunder is allowing a lot of connections onto the Void Spirit. But he is able to jump out for the time being with the Dissimulate, saving the gem for now. And that was 2 ults. That was 3 ults, actually.
But that's what they got to do. They got to be prepared for these fights. Sure, they only get a Lich there, but if they would have got a Void Spirit with the gem, that would have been so big. I like these plays from Entity. They're trying to make things happen. And you can see Shad is just like, hey guys, I don't want to fight right now. I just want my refresher. And he's going to keep farming until he gets his refresher. And then, and only then, will we see the Hustlers start to make more aggressive plays. And even if they don't want to make plays by then, the next time for sure they're going to make some plays is going to be in the next couple of minutes or few minutes. We'll see when Roche respawns. But that next Roche, that's what's on the minds of all 10 players right now to defend this. Maybe Shad's mind is more short-term, thinking about his refresh orb here as he is 300 gold away.
Oh, let's see what kind of memories he does have in his mind. Tormentor going to be secured here for Toby, getting the Root Birds.
So Root Bird indeed. So Toby does have that Blink Dagger now, and we saw in that top fight long time ago around that second Roshan, he was able to get the Roar off on the Faceless Void inside the Chronosphere. If that Blink will make it that much easier for him, and that could be the difference of saving Watson's life and not.
Well, let's hope teams have their Roche timers put up on the clock, because D1 Hustlers already smoking up an Entity. They're here a bit early. Want to make sure that they establish control in the area. Do they have any wards to place down? Well, they have 1 lane ward for Fishman, and then of course the Twin Gate ward, which is a secondary, and controlling the Watcher is actually D1 Hustlers.
Refresher on Shad here, that's why they're here. Ready to fight.
And here we go. The Theoliker is going to be there with the Violama. Doom going to be connecting onto Stormstormer. He needs some backup. There's the bunker, and he's going to hide for the time being. And Watson in a good position to deal out damage. He's going to get Chrono, but he does have his BKB up, and they're only getting bashes through. But he's got a second Chrono, and he's going to drop it right on top of him. And that's going to make sure they take him out. Watson coming up the back, so is Stormstormer. Hakoda still fighting back, trying to take down Toby and look for another kill. And a third buyback coming in, but Kataomi down. Fishman's about to drop 2, and D1 Hustlers pretty much clean. They've only lost the Lich so far.
Making 4 buybacks.
Will go down. Stormstormer still rolling in, trying to get a connection there. And something with the triple. And Pango, he's just throwing his body in. Toby, he's in the fight as well. And Santic getting controlled. The Void Spirit very low on mana, very low on HP. But the Pango, he's still relentlessly taking him out and will get the kill. Shad BKB's up, dodges the blast up onto Stormstormer. They go, Pango can't escape the time dilation. It's too strong. It's too much to deal with. Toby on the run, but no, he's gonna get denied as well. That's another dieback on their way. Fishman should be the next one to drop as D1 Hustlers. They hunt them down. 1 by 1, they fall.
That was 7 buybacks in total. 5 used on Entity, 2 used on the Hustlers. You see the state of the game, right? Entity, they buy back all 5 of their heroes, realizing it's checkmate. If they can't get this Roshan with double Chronosphere being downed, and Watson's like, what the hell, guys? I just tanked 2 Chronospheres basically by myself, and we're still losing the fights. My buyback should have been sufficient, but they're just too far behind now, and back into the turtle shell we go for Entity, as we no longer have 5 buybacks. And we're going to see an instant replay here of how this fight started. I thought with this opening Requiem that perhaps Watson would have an opening to go onto Shad here, but not the case whatsoever. And it's just a singular Chronosphere onto the Shadow Fiend. Doesn't even kill him. They have to commit the second one too, catching some of his teammates as well. You're going to see immediately they're going to do the buybacks for this, try to get back into this fight. But the fight is just too bad, and they've used enough spells themselves. It's not like Entity didn't use any spells. They also used a lot of spells there. So even though they did come back, they still couldn't fight.
Yeah, that second chrono basically just solidifies. Even if the Shadow Fiend, he has his BKB up, he's soaking up all of the damage from that Mjolnir, from that time lock. But the second chrono, he's already out of his BKB and just gets blown up. His position was good at the start, but he was found too early. There's no real save on the side of Entity to help him out as he's in that chrono. No Oracle ults, no nothing to protect them there. And basically from that, it's just, you know, one pick off to the next pick off for D1 Hustlers, just finding connection after connection.
Connecting to tower now at this point as well. And does this train stop? Shad. Katomi died over there to the Doom.
Solo kill.
He had to commit the Doom though, but there's no buyback.
Shad, aggressive jump there with the time dilation. Slowing them down for the time being. He's going to get disarmed a couple times here with that swashbuckle. And so he also decides to retreat to the low ground despite holding that Aegis. Not going to give it for free.
The one saving grace you do have here is Faces Void. This hero's a teamfight monster with the Refresher and the Chronosphere, which isn't really a saving grace, but the fact is he can't hit high ground very well. So you can buy yourself time for this techies to respawn. But it doesn't really help you in the department. How do you fight Shad for the next 3 minutes? And more importantly, can you burst him? Like, that's one of your only avenues to getting back into this game is, will you be able to take Shad down before he gets these Chronos off? Because if he gets the Chronos off, you've got no chance in these fights. Absolutely no chance for Watson to survive this.
It's kind of like you need to get Roar into Requiem, like Roar, Blink, Requiem, but Shadow Fiend doesn't even have a Blink, so he's going to have to walk up there during that stun duration, but we haven't seen that happen.
He does pack a big punch, though, so perhaps just the right clicks with the Roar, and maybe they need a secondary stun, like the Pango stun, to lock him down for a bit longer.
Yeah.
But you got to burst through as well, this Frost Shield, but luckily with the Nullifier.
It's like you basically just need to tag team the guy, you know, like a basic bar fight. You know, you have an honest 1v1, and suddenly you've got 3 guys on you, and then you don't really get to throw hits, you're just receiving them. That's what Entity is really looking for to finish off this Faces Void.
You've been there before?
No.
That's good.
I've been a witness, but
I see. It's just a spectator.
Enough about that.
But yeah, either way, I think that'll be the plan after Aegis is gone. Because you could do that during Aegis, right? But that's not going to net you much other than this Aegis kill. Might as well wait that extra 1 minute and 45 seconds here for that Aegis to go down. And here comes the ninja gear. Always gets me every time.
Usually involving those bar fight strats, somebody needs to grab a stool and throw in a cheap shot, but I don't think you have a lot of cheap shots left on Entity, so just got to try and overwhelm this Faces Void. Aegis going to be running out in 1.5 minutes. Also the cheese up on this Void Spirit. No Lotus is up, but they will go for the Doom. Shad, Chrono, it's a good one. He's going to catch Pango and the Undying. Another Chrono also on the Watson, and that's the one that he wanted. And they will dissimulate Entity's defense. And that is GG right away. The Doom initiation to Violama. Again, the aggressive opening and allows for that vision. Shad jumps in. Chrono's 2 guys. Oh, I got to refresh it. Let's find Watson. We found Watson. Slap him down. D1 Hustlers. Game 1 victory in 42 minutes.